Welcome back, dear viewers. And in this segment of our program, we are going to talk about the future of business with automation and voice assistant technology. And to know more about this interesting topic, we are joined today by Mr. Abdou Magdi. He is a technology executive. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Abdou. To start with, we all know that the artificial intelligence is actually rapidly coming with business automation applications. How soon is the voice assistance coming to the surface and to be more common to be used by the normal users?
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for considering artificial intelligence and presenting applications for technology. I think it's a very important topic for our viewers and also for business owners. I think what we have been seeing in the past years in terms of there's a lot of talks about artificial intelligence and intelligent automation, and then we're looking for the applications to enter the business space. I think what we can actually be seeing, which was what we're talking just about, is things like I want to go from point A to point B. I want to use like the traffic, I want to drive, and by then I can use something like Google Maps to guide me there. So, and also I can use that relying just on my voice without having to type and interact with technology. So I think what's emerging right now is that we can start using technology with our voice without having to use touch or clicks, etc., which is becoming more convenient for us in certain situations. So if we look about that, and if we look also statistically around the world, we're going to find that like a simple task like search engines are reporting right now is that 50% of the queries that goes into search engines are actually inserted via voice. So people, other than typing on Google, they are asking Google. And this is a very important indicator to look at how voice technologies are emerging very quickly and how there could be a lot of applications coming up to help businesses and also individuals in the near future. So a very strong indicator that voice technologies are already here. There are a lot of applications for example, one of the statistics says that like almost 30% of the US population do have smart speakers, things like devices that they can talk to, and the applications of home automation, the fact that you can run the lights, you can do a full check for the security system, you can even like turn on and off the oven. So all these applications that has to do with home automation have been evolving in the past years, and we can see lots of this getting into business as well.
So, Mr. Abdou, what are the main tasks are we expecting for these assistants to conduct?
Yeah, I think for what we have seen so far with all these like voice assistants is like the simplest with things like managing calendar, for example. So we have our calendars, we would like to book like different slots in our calendars and confirm these slots. So voice assistants are very good at doing that in terms of like communicating the slots, because also there's like very little number of information involved with that.
Yes.
So reminders is a very big point because it's a voice system, and also reminders always have been tied to voice. So when we like want to wake up in the morning, we want to have like stopwatches, all that smart assistants are very efficient in that because also they have a voice interface. So reminders, even like checking emails, reading different articles. So right now if you're like multitasking, if you're doing something in your kitchen and you can actually get your smart like voice assistant to read an article for you, so you'll be multitasking, like so accessing emails, managing calendars, setting reminders, and a bunch of other tasks. These things are actually happening right now. Like I personally use lots of these applications, and it's very, very convenient. Of course, also other things that has to do with home automation, which is like controlling different facilities at your home, running music, lights, etc.
That would bring me, Mr. Magdi, to ask who is expected to be controlling this voice assistant market now, and who is expected to be controlling it in the coming future?
Yeah, I think that's a big question, and also it's like a big question mark because like definitely the big technologies companies are the ones in control because first they have the traffic and also they have advanced technologies, so they are able to roll this out very quickly. And we can see like companies like Google, they have their own like system, Google Assistant, and also given that they have an operating system for phones, so by then like the Google Assistant is installed on Android phones, so by then there is a vast market for them they can already tap into. The same thing goes for Apple. They have their own devices and their own software, so they have Siri for all like Apple computers and Apple devices, and also lots of other emerging technology companies and competing technology companies, they have their own like technology assistants, which shows that based on having an ecosystem, they are able to launch and take advantage of these systems. One of the emerging trends that's happening right now is that entrepreneurs and those who has like ideas for specific uses are able to either integrate some of these skills into some of these existing systems, like Alexa, for example, having Alexa skills, teaching some of these devices to do things beyond what it's already doing, or some other companies are coming up with their own devices to offer specific benefits, specialized benefits to consumers.
So, sir, what are the biggest threats and drawbacks of these technologies?
Yeah, I think like once we start talking about intelligent automation and artificial intelligence, we always have like the threats to job security for people, because that's the beginning of automation. So lots of us start thinking that our jobs are going to be partially automated.
Yes.
So this is one aspect of it. On an individual user perspective, there are a lot of concerns about privacy, because the way these devices work is that you like, for example, this is a device. I want to actually activate the device. I say that I call the device by name, and by then the device is activated by me calling the device name. And for that, the device has to be listening 24/7 for me to activate it, which actually means that they can access the voices in the surrounding. So a very big concern is privacy. If I have a device like that, and it can actually hear everything that's happening, so I have to be very mindful on where do I place this device, and also who's going to access this information. So privacy is a very big concern for users. Like generally when we talk about the population, we're talking about like things like job security. People who also think that like if my phone, if I can do it on my phone, or I can type it on my computer, so why would I need a voice assistant? So this is also some population that still have not reached the need for the voice system. So these are all concerns, but comes on top definitely is privacy and data protection.
Mr. Magdi, is this technology controlled by the giants of the technology, or there is a chance for the smaller teams and young entrepreneurs to have a role here?
Yeah, I think that's a big question. I think that this is something that's emerging right now. We cannot judge whether this is successful or not, because technology is sophisticated. You know, like building a system like that has different steps, and you need like, you have a very strong tech stack to do that. You have to have, like, for example, how do you activate the device? How do you get the device to kind of identify the word that you're speaking and like transfer that into text, and then process that and find the answers, and then get the answer from being in a text format into a voice format, and you speak it back. How do you do them to do things like context switching? Like if you're talking about a topic and then you change the topic, they have to have the intelligence of linking these topics. So these are all like technology challenges that requires advanced technology and advanced programming skills. So that actually makes it less likely for smaller companies and smaller teams to build something. But there are like open source solutions that's starting to pop up, which actually like free code that's available on the internet that you can download and you can start building something with it, which actually gives hope for these smaller teams. And we started seeing like teams from around the world coming up with solutions like that. So they use these open source technologies, they build extra layers of technology, and by then they're able to utilize these for their own advantage. But definitely we can see that like it's a split, the market is a split between the big like technology providers. But by then if you can find a niche as an entrepreneur, you can find a niche of something that you have experience with, and you can design it in a way that allow people to converse with, and then you have very specific responses that mostly like big technology companies are going to take time to get there. That's going to provide you with a competitive advantage. A very good example is one of the smart speakers that launched it on Kickstarter. Like they kind of were raising funds through an online website, through people actually pre-order the device. That device was helping English speakers learn Chinese. So and they were actually almost like 10,000x. So like they raised like 100 times the amount they wanted to raise. So they wanted to raise $10,000. They ended up raising over $1 million. So this shows that there is a big market for that, and even for those newcomers and small teams, they can, if they find the right niche, if they build the right product, they can actually create market for them.
So, Mr. Abdo, to what extent these technologies will affect the business building process, and also the business owners and customers?
Yeah, I think when we talk about business, because most of these applications are like for users and for home automation, we are starting to see some applications that are getting into business, but so far it's quite basic. Like one of the applications in business, for example, is meeting management. Is that you have this as a meeting assistant. So if we're having a meeting here, we have this as an assistant to like take notes and also brief us at what happened in the meeting and actually prepare the to-do lists, etc. So these are becoming some basic business applications. Besides, also you can use some of the other features like managing calendars, etc. But I think that there are very specific business uses, things like running advertising campaigns, in which that we see emerging trends. So if I'm a business owner and I would like to reach customers and I would like to run advertising campaigns on different websites like Facebook, etc. So what I need to know how to design such a campaign, or I need to hire an agency. So some of the technologies that's emerging is that you can have an assistant to run your advertising. So I can have a conversation with an assistant about who am I targeting, like what are their age group, what is the product that I'm selling, and based on the information that I provide to this assistant, they build and organize and manage the campaigns for me. So this is huge actually, because by then, as a business owner, I have direct access to running these advertising campaigns and reaching my customers, relying on that intelligent assistant. So running advertising campaigns, maybe like onboarding new customers. So if I run a medium enterprise with like 50 employees and I'm looking to scale to 70 in like 2 weeks, so I'm going to be onboarding 20 new people, and I need to spend some time in training on onboarding them. Some of the applications is onboarding new staff members, and for that we have to have a smart assistant to be having a conversation with like new teammates.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Abdu, finally, how do we and our viewers get ready for the usage of such technology?
Yeah, I think like a very good point is to start using it right now. So whenever you find a voice option, like in an environment in which you can have a voice option, I think it's good for you to start using it, because also like all these applications are based on machine learning. So the more you use it, the more it's going to get better. So especially if you're like technology minded and if you'd like to get these technologies to advance quickly, start using that whenever you have an opportunity. Do not be shy. For example, if you're driving and you would like to be following this Google Maps, you don't have to be looking at the device. Maybe like train yourself to listen to it. So this is like one aspect in terms of as users, and also as employees and as staff and as workers. I think it makes us much stronger in a stronger position to maintain like our career once we integrate with technology. So it's going to be difficult for us to compete in the full scope of our work with technology, but if we're really smart about it, we're going to rely on technology. And like, for example, if I have this intelligent assistant and I run an agency, I'm going to get this assistant to my side as an agency. So by then, I'm not going to only use my intelligence, but I'm using my intelligence and that of the assistant, other than being replaced. So try to avoid getting in like direct competition with that assistant, but see how can you integrate it in your work.
Yeah, indeed.
So finally, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Abdu Magdi, a technology executive. Thank you, sir, for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure, Mr. Abdu. And that, our dear viewers, would bring us to the end of this edition of The Breakfast Show. You were in the company of myself, Mahisi Rabia, and my dear colleague, Shireen Adil. Thank you very much, Shireen.
Thank you, Mahisi. And by that, dear viewers, we come to the end of today's edition. See you tomorrow with a new crew.